everybody, and welcome to Super Science with Tina. And Cody says hi too. This virtual enrichment has been brought to you by Center for Success. Okay, so we have a lot going on here today. Today, the title of our experiment is Color Me Flowers. So, number one in our scientific method is ask a question. And the question I chose was, how do florists are the people who put together flower arrangements and keep the flowers all nice and pretty and put them in bouquets. How do florists make different colored flowers? How do they do that? So we asked our question, that's number one. Number two is hypothesis. Make an educated guess. I think it might make a little color on a flower if we have the right ingredients, and it will just be on the center of the flower. I've never done this before, and I'm pretty skeptical. And skeptical just means that you're just not really sure about this. Okay, so one, ask a question. Two is hypothesis. Three is gather materials. We need 3 white carnation flowers, 3 different food colorings, 3 glass containers, or they could be plastic, but they need to be clear, water, and scissors. Okay, so I got the flowers. I just got them from the Kmart's, Kroger's, and they were on sale because they're not going to last much longer, which is fine. We just need to use it for an experiment. And then I already filled 3 glass containers halfway with water, and I have purple food coloring, blue food coloring, and pink food coloring. So 1, ask a question. 2, hypothesis. 3, gather materials, and 4 is conduct the experiment. Just do it. Okay, so we need to add 3 drops of food coloring to each glass, half filled with water. And I would just say to make it room temperature. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. That's the pink. Here's the blue. 1, 2, 3. Here's the purple. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Okay, next step is to put 1 flower, and they should be white carnations because we want to color them. You can't color them if they already have a color, right? So they need to be white. So we can add some beautiful color to them so they're no longer just a plain old white flower. Okay, and this is how they do it at the florist. Now, when you're cutting flowers to get the best result, you should cut it with the scissors sideways, like that. That way it has a fresh cut. And maybe that's a little too tall for that one. So cut it a little bit more. So there's our first flower in the purple. Here's our second flower in the blue. And our third flower in the pink. Okay, now you have to wait. You have to give it time to do its thing. So when I come back, it'll be tomorrow, and we'll see what happened, and then we'll go to number 4, which is write down our observations and collect data. And I put flower 1, 2, and 3, so I can write down each result. And we'll do a comparison, then we'll analyze the data, then share out our discovery. And that will complete our 7 steps. So we're going to end the video, and when it comes back on, it'll be tomorrow. Hi everybody, welcome back to Super Science with Tina. We're going to finish up our experiment. Put it in my garden. Okay, so let me show you what happened to the flowers. So we had some really cool results. Okay, and so I left the food coloring here so you can see which color they were. So we did ask a question, hypothesis, we did gather materials, and then we also did conduct the experiment, just do it. So we're on 4 where we're going to collect the data of what happened. All of them changed to the color of the food coloring I put in the water. However, they didn't do it at the same time, which I thought was really interesting. So here are our results. Number 5, collect data. Flower 1, which is the blue one, that one was really fast. Within an hour, it had changed colors, okay? And then when I took a look at the second one, as time was going by, it wasn't doing anything. It took a really long time for the pink flower. It took a whole day. And the third flower, which is our purple flower, it was in between. So it wasn't as fast as the blue. It wasn't as slow as the pink. It took about 15 hours. But the blue was like super fast. A friend of mine who teaches science said it might have something to do with chlorophyll, which is what makes the stem green and the flower produces green leaves, and blues are closer to green than purple or pink. So she said next time try it with green food coloring, it might even be faster. Okay, so then after we collect our data, 6, we analyze our data. What happened and why? The flower stem drinks the water with the food coloring, and it goes out to the leaves. It absorbs it. So now we have to share our results. So here are our results. A lot of new scientific words in here. Okay, so this is called transpiration. Transpiration, big long word. And that is basically the stem, how it travels up the stem of the flower. Okay, so water goes up the stem of the flower to the petals, and we call that osmosis, by the way of the xylem. The xylem's inside here. It's kept away from outside elements, and it's the vessel or the tube, which is easier to understand, that carries the water up. And then it goes all the way out, and then it gets absorbed into the air, just like all water, and that's called evaporation. So I made a little diagram to try to help explain this better. So if you can see this bright green, neon green, it shows how the water starts down here. It gets absorbed through the stem, that's transpiration, and then it goes up, 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 and then it's using the xylem tube inside the stem. This is called osmosis, and then it goes all the way to the end of the petals, which is the farthest it can go, then the rest of the water gets evaporated into the air and it starts all over again. So in my hypothesis, I said, I think it might turn a little bit of color, but it's just going to be right in the middle of the flower. So it did get a little bit of color, but it went to the edges of the petals, and that's because that's the furthest it can go. And then it will evaporate any leftover water into the air. So it starts down here, all the way down here, all the way up into here, and out, the furthest it can stretch out. So now we got a pink flower, we have a purple flower, and we have a blue flower. That was a lot of fun, and it turned out to be such a beautiful experiment. So we're all done for today. Thank you for joining us today, sharing your time with Center for Success. We are grateful for the opportunity to be a part of your life. It's great to share a new form of community with you. See you next time.